One of the things that I wrote about in my second book, The Death by Bunjie Crossbow Method, was that when you change one thing, it has a ripple effect. It changes something else down the line. That is so true with crossbows. You change one thing on your crossbow, and all of a sudden it's changing a lot of other stuff. Perfect example, you change the scope, you go to the Burris Oracle X, all of a sudden your cheek rest isn't high enough, right? You got to get a higher cheek piece, and you're contacting Mike at Gotta Grip and getting a nice comfortable grip to put on there. It works out great, but it changes something down the line. All of a sudden you have to sort of change the way you're doing things. Think about this when you're buying a new crossbow. If you're looking at going from one crossbow to another, or if you're just getting into crossbows, think about the accessories that you're going to be using with that crossbow. Don't just think about the crossbow. Cases. What are you going to put the crossbow in, right? And if you travel, if you fly, can you get a hard case, an airline-ready hard case to put that crossbow in to fly? Now, with the OB, I just take the thing down, put it in a rifle case, ship it out there, put it together when I got to Arizona. 2 bolts out of the riser, no problem. Around here, I just throw it in a soft case and drive around with it. The Scorpyd's kind of a different issue. Now, I do have a soft case for the Scorpyd. Works great. It fits that Deathstalker. But when I look at the website, not all of the Scorpyd models fit in that case. Now, that's not convenient. If your crossbow manufacturer doesn't make a soft case for your crossbow, that's a little bit of a problem, because you got to have a case in some states, and you want a padded case, right? You want something to protect that investment, protect that expensive crossbow. No matter what you paid for it, you want it to be safe. So you need to have a case. So you got to check these different manufacturers and make sure that they've got a case for you. If not, will it fit in one of the generic cases? That's a good question. With the Scorpyd, there's no hard case for that, however. Flying with that is virtually impossible. You aren't going to put that in a case and reasonably ship that from one place to another. I actually bought a case, not realizing how big the dimensions were. There it is next to a 150 quart cooler. That's too big. It takes up half the hotel room. It needs its own bed. So we're not going to do that, right? I have it in a soft case now, and it's going to ride in the back seat of the truck. It just takes up space behind the seat. So lighted nocks. Now, lighted nocks are mandatory, at least in my book, and the Death by Bunjie Crossbow Method is, in fact, my book. Lighted nocks are mandatory. I don't shoot in the backyard without lighted nocks. I don't hunt without lighted nocks. If you're interested in that, you're going to have to sort of pay attention, right? You got to look at those crossbow manufacturers and see, before you get into that architecture, right? Before you get into that genre of crossbows, you got to make sure that they do, in fact, have a lighted nock that will be good enough for you. For years, the Scorpyd website said that the Burt Coyote Parker-style Luminoc was okay for the Deathstalker. Now it doesn't say that. I don't know why. I don't know why they changed. I don't know if it's because they have an affiliation with Fire Nock or something like that. I don't know. So I'm taking a little bit of a risk, probably voiding my warranty, shooting the Deathstalker with the Parker-style Luminocs. I've talked to people at Burt Coyote, and they've indicated to me that the GTCs will work on it as well. I will probably try them out and see if they maintain consistent accuracy. Again, a little bit of a risk, and you want to take that into account before you get into that crossbow manufacturer's crossbows. Not just nocks, but arrows. What arrows are you going to use on this crossbow? Now, some manufacturers require you to use their arrows, and probably for good reason. If you're shooting a 450 or a 500 feet per second crossbow, there is so much energy getting placed in that arrow that the nock and the arrow are crucial. So they've tested it with their gear. Probably don't want you using the other guy's gear because there might be safety concerns. I take that pretty seriously. Spend as much time looking at the arrows, at the nocks, as you do looking at the specs of that crossbow. Are you going to put one of these ultra-modern scopes on your crossbow, like the Burris Oracle X or the Garmin 0X1IA1 little I, whatever it is, you know, those different scopes. And I'm not picking Burris over Garmin, believe me. But if this is something where you think down the road, the crossbow that you're buying is going to have one of these scopes, now you got to worry about the cheek rest and all that sort of thing. Is the crossbow that you're getting into adjustable enough for you to shoot that comfortably? Or are you going to have to, you know, get the Gotta Grip on there or some other sort of cheek pad on there? Now with the SWAT X1 here, the newest member of the Death by Bunjie family of crossbows, this crossbow is really made for the Oracle X, or the Oracle X is really made for the crossbow, I don't know which, but man does it really fit on there nice. Because of the enclosed barrel, I think the scope needs to have extended rings and needs to sit up a little bit higher. The cheek rest, if you look back here, because of that barrel design, it goes all the way back to the butt of the crossbow. It's a bullpup design, so it goes all the way back here. Because of that, the cheek rest sits a little bit higher. So even if I had a speed scope on here, I'd have to have higher rings, special rings to raise that scope up. That works perfectly with this. You put your cheek right on here, look right down. I didn't have to have an additional pad or anything. Some crossbows don't come with stirrups. I like having a stirrup. Even if you're going to crank it, I want a stirrup because I want to be able to put my foot on something and balance the crossbow. Some of the manufacturers don't include stirrups because they don't want you trying to rope cock the crossbow. This one I can rope cock. Another reason I like it, right? And that's one of the things you want to kind of consider before you buy a crossbow. Do you like the crank or not? That's an accessory. You're going to crank it, you better like that crank, that's for sure. This one with the adjustable stirrup, I can put it down like this and stand the crossbow up. It rests on these little bumpers on the front, and it just sort of sits there and stands up in front of you in a blind, or when I'm on the back crossbow balcony here. Sometimes I've got it sitting down like this, and I'll stand it up in the corner down in the basement when I'm working, and then I can't find it. The thing is so small. You call to it, it doesn't answer. But it doesn't have a name yet either, does it? When you go to shoot it, you can raise it up. And that way the broadhead, even with a long swahacker sticking out here, the stirrup still protects that broadhead. Another thing you might want to customize is the grips, right? The SWAT series of crossbows comes with the ability to customize the AR-15 style grips that come on it. Basically, you just take a little bolt out and you put them on there. Friend of Bunjie Jim, also known as One-Eyed Archer, his SWAT X1 Xena has custom grips, and that's a sweet crossbow. Some crossbows, like the Scorpyd, however, have the 1911 style grips. I really like the 1911 style grips because there's so many options out there. You can go through eBay and spend an hour looking at just different 1911 grip options. They are so much fun. You might remember on Bunjie 3.0, I put on the mahogany style grips. I stained them with a mahogany stain as a tribute to my father. He really liked that mahogany finish on his woodwork. What I did for this crossbow is I simply bought a converter, an AR-15 to 1911 style converter. You took the original grip off, one screw, put this one on, the converter on, and now I can put 1911 grips on an AR style grip. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So I ended up going with these. For what it's worth also, I bought the Thin Blue Line 1911 style grips. This is my tribute to law enforcement because of my new job as district attorney, joining the law enforcement community, a new chapter in my professional life, and it's a new chapter in my crossbow hunting journey. So this is sort of a symbolic grip. And obviously, tripods, the shooting rest. Rests are very important. They're very important for sighting in the backyard, especially as you reach out to longer distances. When I started hunting with a crossbow, I just used a sawhorse. Today, that's not enough, is it? We evolve as crossbow hunters as technology evolves, and now reaching out to longer distances is just part of the crossbow game as far as I'm concerned. I rarely shoot at 20 yards unless I'm sighting in a brand new scope, and now everything I shoot is between 40 and 60 as a general practice. So I like the fact that this helps me reach out, but you need a solid rest in order to do so. When I shot a deer last year at 52 yards with B3, Bunjie III, I did so off of the Caldwell Deadshot Field Pod. That crossbow rested nicely on there. That reverse limb style crossbow seems to like the Field Pod style. Problem with that is it wants to wander a little bit, likes to lean, and if you really want a vice style grip like the Bog Death grip, I love this tripod, especially for shooting in the backyard. This is a little bit heavy to be carrying now. I wouldn't put it in the blind unless I was going to leave it in the blind. I wouldn't carry it in and out of the woods with me. The Field Pod is light enough that I can carry it in and out of the woods. I don't think that this is long enough to sit in a Field Pod style rest. Too short. So you got to think about those things ahead of time. This one needs a death grip. And it also, the Scorpyd has that contoured front end, and that doesn't sit well in the vise. So if you're going with a contoured style foregrip, you're going to want a Field Pod style tripod, probably. And if you are going with a straight foregrip, maybe you want the vise style like this. I like this setup, and I'm going to have to find a way to put this head, the vise style head, on a different tripod and make it mobile so that I can go in and out of the woods. Ripple effect. You change one thing, you change something else. Evaluate the accessories, right? Do your research. Look into what is offered for that crossbow, what's required for that crossbow, and what's optional before you invest in any one single manufacturer. Hope you're enjoying the tail end of Crossbow Appreciation Month here on Death by Bunjie, and until next time, all hail Bunjie.